Bienvenidos en Argentina.
We just arrived in Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina.
And what better place than to start this trip than the place where my childhood hero started playing as a soccer player, Diego Armando Maradona. Welcome to La Paternal neighborhood of Buenos Aires. What Maradona represented for Argentinians and for Neapolitans, it is well known. There's a lot of films and documentaries that talk about him. He was a legend. What I want to talk about is the reason why he was so important and so crucial for the history of Napoli and Neapolitans. When he came to Italy to play for Napoli, for the team, for my city, Napoli didn't really exist. Napoli was this poor city in the south of Italy with a glorious past, but not much of a glorious present. One of the few things that made Neapolitans really happy was to go to the stadium, watch their team play, but Napoli had never won anything. Maradona came as the best player in the world, the best soccer player in the world. He came to Napoli to win trophies after trophies in a way that no other player had ever done for the city of Napoli. Thanks to Maradona, Napoli was finally a city, a place that people knew about, that people were excited about. Even today, 30 years after Maradona's time with Napoli, Maradona's figure is still very important and very relevant for the city of Napoli. Gracias, Diego, for everything that you've done for Napoli. And so in the same place where Maradona began his professional journey as a soccer player, we begin our journey through Argentina. Vamos! So Marissa, what do you think?
Well, you had your representation with Maradona for Napoli. Now I, as the American, have Conan. And then there are these two guys next to him, but I don't know if they're that important.
Yeah, who are they?
They're semi-well known.
But how awesome that Conan O'Brien has a freaking graffiti here.
We don't know how you managed it, but we loved it and we came here specifically to see it.
Good job, Conan. Here we are, Ruta 40, Argentina.
Or the Route 40 of Argentina.
We just got this Italian Fiat in Villa Langostura, a small town in the lake region of Argentina.
And the goal is to go south, all the way to El Calafate, a town that's famous for the Perito Moreno Glacier. Along the way, we're gonna make a few stops in some small Patagonian towns.
So follow us on this Argentinian road trip on Ruta 40.
It's a little windy today here. The region is really famous for this wind, and we're experiencing it firsthand. But we had to get out of the car because we saw some really cool animals, the flamingos. Also, even more epic, we have flamingos and a train in the background. We think probably the Patagonia Express. It's so epic. This beautiful landscape here in the background with these rocks, the lagoon, and this amazing train. Who knows if you can hear any of this?
It's a little windy. Oh my God.
We have to go back in the car before we're blown away.
Well, in case you were wondering how strong the wind is,
I'm scared.
I don't think you can open it.
Wait. Oh my God. This is insane. This wind, it's like nothing I've ever experienced.
Get back in the car! Get back! Come on! Let's go. Oh my god. Here.
Yeah.
Welcome to Esquel, Argentina. Today we are at the train station of this small town because we came to visit this old train, La Trocita. It dates back to more than 100 years ago. It used to transport people, food and other goods all over the region. It would stop in Nahuelpan, Maitén and other small towns. Nowadays this train doesn't really run anymore as it used to. It's a tourist train that you can visit, you can ride and see the beautiful region of northern Patagonia. Unfortunately, we were unlucky today because we wanted to ride on this train, but the service was suspended because the train broke down over the weekend. Nonetheless, we're happy that we came here because I feel that I'm paying homage to one of the greatest travel writers that has ever lived, Paul Theroux. He's a writer from the United States that I was able to meet a couple of months ago actually in Boston. Among the several books that he wrote, he actually wrote The Old Patagonian Express, a travelogue of his famous trip across the American continent, all the way from Boston to Esquel, Argentina. He took different trains. He went to Chicago, then down to Texas, then he crossed into Mexico, rode a train all the way down to Guatemala, and then crossed into several different Central American countries, then went to South America, and finally came to Argentina, where his trip ended in the town of Esquel. And seeing this train, looking at the original car, the vintage interior, really makes me feel as if I'm able to experience at least part of the iconic trip that Paul took on this old Patagonian Express. I'm having a classic Argentinian empanada with meat, from what I can see here. We just stopped in Gobernador Costa, one of the many small towns on Ruta 40. This is actually the first major one with an actual road and a few stores. We've been driving for almost 1,000 kilometers, at least in the last few days. So yeah, I'm enjoying my empanada. This monument to Valentin Sayehuekel, an Aboriginal of Patagonia, is the most important monument in the town of Gobernador Costa. It's a structure made of wood, and definitely the most impressive thing to notice, other than the structure, is the fact that he's surrounded by the Argentinian flag and also a native flag that we see here of one of the tribes of the Patagonian region. In fact, he was a son of people from two different tribes, Mapuche and Tehuelche, two tribes from this region. What's really beautiful about it is that this town dedicated an entire monument to him to commemorate the history that he represents in this area, the fact that he was in charge of this whole region before Argentina became what Argentina is today. So we just arrived in Tamarisco, the most feared part of the Ruta 40 drive. I say that because the Ruta is really not in good shape here. I mean, look at this. You basically gotta move in between right lane, left lane. It's unbelievable. That's the condition.
You can go for a swim in some of these potholes.
Let's get into the left lane for a second.
We're British right now on the other side of the road to avoid these potholes.
This is the only part that is really in terrible shape. After these, we enter the Santa Cruz province, and then from there, the condition of the road improves.
Fingers crossed. Davide, why are you wearing this hat?
We're going into a cave.
We're going into a cave. On the road again.
Why did we leave the nicely paved road for these?
It's a tough road, but I think the destination is going to make it worth it.
All right, I trust you.
Let's see. We are going back in time 9,000 years. Well, not actually back in time, but we are about to see something really, really old.
Welcome to La Cueva de las Manos, or the Cave of Hands. This cave is named for the ancient cave art on the walls. Hundreds of hand paintings that date back as far as 9,000 years ago. These are some of the oldest paintings in all of South America. Scientists believe that the people who lived during this time stenciled their hands onto the cave walls using pipes made of bone with different color pigments. Other types of art are depicted on the walls that give visitors a peek as to what life was like all those years ago. The people who lived at the time, the last group thought to be the ancestors of the Tehuelche people, were considered nomadic hunter-gatherers. They often moved based on the migrating patterns of one animal in particular, the guanaco, a type of llama. They used this animal for food and clothing. On the walls, you can see so many depictions of the guanacos. You can still see these animals all over the Patagonian steppe today. You might be wondering, why did these ancient persons draw their handprints and other images on the cave walls? Some researchers say it had religious and ceremonial purposes. Others think it might have been decorative or used to show one's territory. Or maybe it was a type of magic to improve their luck during the hunting season. It has even been suggested that they created this art out of the human desire to not be forgotten. Regardless, the fact that people continue to draw and create art on the cave walls for thousands of years shows that the cave had significance to them. And in the same way that these people left their handprints thousands of years ago, we're leaving our mark here today.
Great experience.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is epic. We are witnessing a small black widow spider. But this is literally childhood fears come true, because when I was in elementary school, I did a book report, yes, a book report, on a certain animal, which was the black widow spider. And I read a story where someone was bitten by one because it was in their shoe.
Oh my God.
And ever since then, always have checked my shoes before putting them on. That's why. It's crazy.
I didn't know all of this about you.
Yeah.
Well, I say you learn something new every day. And to end the day, what better thing to do than to hike? To hike the path of the colors, the Sendero de los Colores. Where is the path?
How is it possible?
So we just saw some guanacos in the distance, and they saw us. They're looking at us. Let's go. Let's get closer. Let's go. She's not following me. They're baby guanacos, probably with their mom. So what's the strategy right now?
Well, right now, we're just trying to be quiet and still.
Because we're pretty sure if that's a mom with two babies, we want to get out of here. But also we don't want to be too fast, too abrupt. The mom doesn't seem too worried. The babies went one way, the mom stayed behind. Marissa and I are
Our two chickens,
walking.
obviously.
Well, you know, you never know. We stick together, let's say that. Let's stick together, you and I.
There are no words. And in fact, Davide and I are eating our words, because we said that this trail was like Utah, like California, but no, this trail is like Patagonia, like Argentina. This is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this before.
Do you like Patagonia?
Love Patagonia. Well, I think we've reached the top. This is probably the most beautiful thing we're going to see today. So we're signing off for now until the next adventure.
Adios. Mwah.
We're on our rest stop.
On Ruta 40. They weren't kidding when they said there's really nothing around for hours and hours.
This is the best rest stop we could find.
Sometimes on road trips you take a wrong turn, and sometimes that sets you back a few minutes, 20 minutes. In Boston, sometimes it would set me back 45 minutes. Today we thought we were driving on Route 40. Somehow we missed the turn to Route 40 and ended up on this road. By the time we realized our mistake, we were already so far in that it would take more time to go back than to just continue on this road. Sometimes, no matter how experienced you are as a traveler, no matter how many road trips you've done, you still always gotta be on your game. Another lesson for the books.
There's no way it's not gonna be paved before Tres Lagos, you know? Even if it takes an hour, it'll be paved eventually, an hour and a half, but how long can it be like this?
Where are we?
We're gonna make it out of here. That's not the road, that's the route. We got it. Let's go.
The good news, a sign. The bad news, 61 more kilometers.
The guanacos are back.
Maybe that means we're approaching.
Yes.
We're approaching hour 3 on this road. We should be on Route 40, which is a beautiful paved road in Patagonia. Instead, we're on this gravelly, desolate road.
The scenery hasn't changed much, unfortunately, in the last 3 hours. And even the guanacos that initially were around us, they're not here anymore. They just left. They got bored of all of this. But I'm confident we're almost there. Beauty will
Await us.
await us again. For now, we're stuck in purgatory.
Yeah. Does pavement exist?
I don't think so.
Has it ever existed? I can't remember what it feels like to drive without this sensation of bouncing up and down in your seat.
That's what our life is like now, Marisa. That's it. All the way down to El Calafate, all the way up back to Bariloche. This is the road. It's always been like this. We dreamed of pavement. Is it?
I don't know if this is a mirage, but we might be seeing pavement.
Wait a second. It is.
Oh my god.
No, I cannot believe it. We did it.
Oh my god. I didn't think we would ever make it back on pavement.
More than 3 hours.
Oh my god.
More than 3 hours on that.
The
I
worst.
just cannot believe it.
But we made it. That's what counts. Route 40 is in that direction.
160 kilometers to El Calafate. My God. Let's go. Well, it was a tough day of driving and we're not done yet. El Calafate, another hour of driving. But look where we are.
An hour ago, we were desperate that the road of rocks was never gonna end, that we were never gonna arrive here. Now we made it, we're here, and the level of beauty here is awe-inspiring, truly. And it's probably why people write books about it. It's probably why people from all over the world come here. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. And I've been to Italy. I don't know if we're ever gonna get to El Calafate because we keep stopping because of these views. This is Lake Argentino, I believe, and it is so beautiful. The blue is like a blue-green I've never seen in water. Unbelievable. And here we are at
Los Glaciares Parque Nacional. Parque Nacional Los Glaciares, I think, in Espanol. We're at the Glaciers National Park. Very exciting moment because we just reached the end of our trip. Final destination, even
Yes.
though we still have 2,000 more kilometers to drive back. This is where we're gonna come all the way.
Let's go see what all the hype is about for this glacier.
We drove for 2,000 kilometers, more than 20 hours on the road. We stayed at different spots all over Ruta 40, days and days of traveling. A beautiful road trip that ends finally at the glacier, Perito Moreno. The beauty of road trips is that they really make you appreciate the road that you have to drive on. Obviously, you can come here, you can fly, come enjoy the glacier. But road trips are really quintessential to the spirit, to the idea of traveling, because every single kilometer, every single mile, you guys would say, is earned. You work for it.
You really feel the distance when you do a road trip. You have to really earn seeing this kind of beauty. You have to go through miles and miles of land that is a little boring or might not be super interesting.
And you make a ton of mistakes. You get lost many, many times.
You earn this level of awe. Road trips are also important because they keep you grounded in travel. They show you that a country is not just the glacier. It's not just the amazing hikes or just the really good food. That there's towns where people live their life, their normal life, and these towns are incredibly average. Those are real places where people have lives and families and jobs. And if you come to countries and you only see the most beautiful spots, the most touristic spots, then you don't really appreciate the full country.
Well said.
Thank you. My book's coming out 2025.
So with this glacier, we reach the southernmost point of this trip, but not the end of it. We still have a couple of gems on the way.